Saw this movie when it came out. Had a first date. It was the last date. I don't know if it was a movie or if it was me. I watched this movie again yesterday. About every 2 years I watch this movie, Easy Rider. And it's always great. And the documentary that goes with this DVD is just as interesting as the movie. I also have the 8-track that I picked up at a garage sale for $1, and also the record, which is actually my wife brought it into our relationship some 48 years ago. Oh, 48 years. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to break down the songs in the movie. When it came out in '69, it was pretty well ahead of its time in the sense that it was a low budget and it was independent, and the music was all rock music, mostly rock music, and they incorporated it from their basically Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda's record collections. So in the opening sequence we have, well, close to the opening, we have The Pusher by Steppenwolf. And in that early scene we see Phil Spector as a drug dealer with his big car and everything. And then we go to the credits, the opening credits with Born to Be Wild. It's perfect. They're just booting down and it's Born to Be Wild. And then the solo, during about 3/4 of the solo, it turns into the roar of motorcycles. So it's really kind of neat how they did it. And then we have Wasn't Born to Follow by the Byrds. And they're riding through, most of these have to do with the riding during the music, most of them. And they're riding through the forest and the foothills, and the lyrics are kind of meshing in there. And then they pick up the hitchhiker that takes them to the commune eventually. And a little further on, The Weight comes on, not too much after that, by the band. And they're riding through Arizona, and it's all that scenery is just beautiful. And for the record, they couldn't get permission to use The Weight from the band, so they actually it's performed by Smith here. And Smith, they had a few songs out. So Wasn't Born to Follow comes in again during the waterhole scene at the commune where they're swimming in the nude. And then we go to Wanna Be a Bird, which is, they're doing tricks. They're riding down the highway. Jack Nicholson is in it by then. And they're doing bird things, and it's fun. It's fun. It's by the Holy Modal Rounders. So that goes by. And then some more fun on the road. We have Don't Bogart That Joint. Or Don't Bogart Me, it's called. The Fraternity of Man. A little more fun kind of stuff happening on. Riding on their bikes. And then the mood changes quite a bit when Hendrix's If 6, what's it called? If 6 Was 9 comes on. They're going through this big bridge, and then that doo-doo, doo-doo, doo. And there's like a sense of menace happening in the movie. A little change in direction. And they go driving through an affluent part of a city, and then they end up going through the slums at the end of the little sequence. So then they end up at Mardi Gras, and then there's when the Saints go marching in and all that, and then there's Carrie Allison, and that's by the Electric Prunes, of course, and that's during the Hoover House scene, this big majestic inside of this building, or this room, and goes on from there. So then they go to, there's an acid trip. There's none of this on the soundtrack, but it's kind of ambient music mixed with prayers and all kinds. It's really psychedelic. I mean, you're there for a little bit. And then we have more riding. It's All Right, Mama. And that is sung by Roger McGuinn, of course, but written by Bob Dylan. And then the final scene where the bikes, where they have the shooting and all that, the depressing part, they have the Ballad of Easy Rider, and that is coming as they pan out from a helicopter. They talked about this in the documentary about how the helicopter went up, and it's a perfect scene. And then you see the river on the side, the river flows and all that. That's Roger McGuinn again. So that's pretty well the soundtrack to the movie. There's some other music in it. There's a little bit of the Electric Flag in there doing a instrumental thing, which of course they didn't include on here. But every couple of years I haul out Easy Rider, and always enjoy it. But I still don't remember that. Well, I do remember that first dating. I actually remember sitting in the theater watching this movie. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Crosby, Stills Nash were originally supposed to do the soundtrack for the movie Easy Rider. Stephen Stills came in with, I think it was Peter Fonda, and probably both of them, Dennis Hopper too. But anyways, he brought his guitar, and they asked him, do you want to watch the movie with what we put in there, the soundtrack that they already had sort of set up? Or do you want to just watch it with no sound so you can sort of figure out what you're going to do? So Stephen Stills said, just play the movie with the sound that you already have in it. And after they had finished, he said, I can't do any better than that. Just go with what you got with the music that you put in there. So that's a little interesting fact. Got to have it on 8-track. Never had an 8-track player, but I got Easy Rider on 8-track.